Hey, you ever sit and think about stuff you've done, stuff you've said, wishing you could change it? Mickey with CarryTrainer.com. Father's Day. It is 2024, Father's Day weekend. People get like birthday weekends, birthday months, birthday quarters. So now, because I'm a dad, it's Father's Day weekend. It's no longer a day. It's got me thinking a little bit. My son turned 25 years old yesterday, and I'm a grandpa, and I think I've got plenty of this non-pigmented hair on my head to remind me every time I look in a stinking mirror that I'm not a young man anymore. Not an old man, but I'm definitely no longer a young man. And it's got me thinking, time's a funny thing, but I've pondered a little bit in the last few days, calling my son, talking to him about being 25 years old, being a quarter of a century old, right? That's a big block of time for him too. That's a milestone of our life, especially when we start to think about like a century and we break it up into chunks, quarters in this case. There's so much that we do right and wrong in life. And a lot of times we spend a lot of our time in this distant place that we call the past, which is dead. It's no more. The things that happen then can very much have a effect on the present. Go to any jail or prison, and those people every single day will have a stark reminder of the past, of the choices that they've made. Father's Day, I'm doing a little research. You guys probably do some stuff like this. It's not an old holiday. It's not an old holiday at all. It's only like 100 years old. And it wasn't until the 70s that it was a actual national holiday, the old Hallmark holiday, right? Nobody likes a Hallmark holiday until it's you getting the gifts, right? I've always tried to honor my father on Father's Day, and he's alive, he's with us, and you do some thinking, right? That's what I want to talk about with you guys. So here's the question. If you could go back and change some things, what would you change? So I just thought of a few things that I have learned in my 25 years of being a dad and my now almost half a century of being a son. And the one thing that I know I would change in the past if I could, and something I work on daily to make change in my life, is this: letting go of what was. Problem with that, or the challenge rather, is I can let go of what was, but if I just continue to exhibit the same behavior, like I'm too harsh, okay, I got to let go that I did that, but then I'm still harsh or short-tempered or maybe too quick with anger or something to that nature, to say, okay, I got to forgive myself for my past mistakes. That's great, but if I keep doing it, then you're just an asshole. Don't do that. So I definitely, myself, would not waste so much time dwelling in the past, and I'd spend more time right here, right now, which is really kind of one of the great messages of our brand. When I say great messages, I don't mean we're great. I'm saying it's like the overarching message. Let's live right now, enjoying our life and each other's life. So that's number one. Number two, I would work a lot more on patience. And this kind of dovetails into number one. Patience, not just with my little guys, my little boy, my little girl, little people in life, and I love children, but patience with myself. We can't and don't have to have everything now. Wealth is cool, money, things, uh, but what does it mean when you're sick and dead? What's it mean when your kids don't talk to you? What's it mean when uh, you're alone, when they grow up and go, right? Wealth is fine, and wealth is measured in different ways, right? Gold, paper currency, Bitcoin, cars, houses, all that stuff is awesome, and there is nothing wrong with it. People often misquote the scripture, and they say that money is the root of all evil. The Bible never said that. The Bible says the love of money. And I'm not trying to get scriptural with you. I'm just saying people quote that, right? It's a nice way to cap the conversation. You go, well, money's the root of all evil. No, it's not. Money is just an inert thing, like my sunglasses. Money is fine, but if you love it more than you love your kids, more than you love getting sleep, I just got to grind it out, baby, then it's bad. Which brings me to number three. Work is important. And work should or shouldn't define you. That's your life. You decide. People are like, you shouldn't be defined by your work. Well, why not? There's nothing wrong with that. If it's not creating injury to the other people in your life, and if you love it, do it, man. People say, find something you're passionate about. You'll never work a day in your life. Bullshit. That person never stripped a roof at 100-degree weather, right? Some stuff is work, but we find joy in it because of what it brings us. I found much joy in construction. I created places and spaces for families to grow old in, for kids to learn to read, for a safe shelter for families. That was like where joy came from for me, and doing it in a way that had excellence in it. Training people to shoot firearms. My thought is, besides empowering them to protect themselves, if I do it right, they're going to pass that information on to their kids. I find value in that, right? So don't give yourself into the job for the quest of number two, that money, right? We one day look back, I got empty bedrooms here with no kids in them. Still some pictures on the wall. You know, you can go in there from time to time as your kids go off to college and move out on their own. And it's sobering shit, man. It's sobering stuff when you look around and you're like, that's it. They might come back for Christmas, maybe grandkids now, but that's it. Those times are gone. So if I choose to take my awareness, one of the messages of Carry Trainer is all about awareness, right? But it's not just, oftentimes we think awareness of like, where's the bad guy, right? It's awareness of self. That self-awareness is the start of spatial awareness or situational awareness. Awareness of self is where it all begins, because we have the ability to check ourselves and say, where am I giving my attention? Awareness. What am I being aware of? And I wish I could go back and spend more time in the moments with my kids, but I can't. So in that, things that I would pass on to young dads, old dads, etc., from my perspective, immerse yourself in the moments and use self-awareness to catch yourself when it's natural. You're going to think about the next day's job. You're going to think about that call that came in with the angry customer or the emergency. I was just with a good friend of mine. He's a dentist, has a long-standing practice. He had to leave. He had a client that had a dental emergency. He had to leave and drive 4 hours home from our firearms training. That sucks. But he's dedicated himself to his patients. He's dedicated himself to the business, and he's got employees, excuse me, that support families. If he doesn't do that, patients will go elsewhere where they will get the kind of care or treatment they need. So there's a fine line, right? There's a fine line between what is important and how we can decide where we can give that attention. If you are always putting work above family, that's a problem. But those kids are also going to need to learn to sometimes make those choices. I ran into an old friend the other day. His name's Lou. A lot of you know I was deeply involved in politics in our region for a while. And one of the guys that took me under his wing and mentored me was a state's attorney from our area. His name was Lou. I haven't seen him in years. He's retired. He's been retired almost 10 years. And I've run into him once in a while. But I hadn't got to really visit with him in several years. And I went to a political event the other night, and man, we were just catching up, loving on each other, grab assing and hugging. And we were talking about, I said, how are you in retirement? Because this guy was a working machine. And he said, Mick, my wife did everything. She raised the kids. I went to work. I saw my dad do it. My dad worked like a machine. And I just thought, that's what you did. And he just, it was like a slap in the face, the same thing that I saw. And this is life, right? We can have information. We can have all these books full of great information, the wealth of knowledge, right? We think of wealth, is it just coins? Well, this is wealth. Knowledge is potential power. If applied, all that shit's there, but we don't listen. Yeah, that guy's right. Pay more attention to my kids. That's freaking great. I got to get to the office. I think as I'm talking through this, I had wrote some notes, and the synopsis really is give time to your family. And there's a fine line between it. But if I chase for stuff, you're going to be left with that stuff, a house full of stuff, and your kids are going to be off doing their own thing, which is also the natural process of life. Don't hold on so tightly. I quote often the famous American poet's 38 special, Hold On Loosely, because we can't raise these little people to then become our slaves to make us feel good emotionally. We want them to be good adults. I'm so proud of my son, proud of both of my kids, but it was just my son's birthday, so I'm getting to talk to him. He turned 25 yesterday, and he's a manager at his work. He's about to be made like a regional manager over a bunch of other locations. He's getting to travel around. He's making great money. He's got health benefits and, all the good things you want for your kid. And he's telling me how after work, he's going to other work sites that he doesn't have to, but he feels that if he goes there, he will learn more about the job, but he'll also be a good leader because people will see him there. And I'm like, damn, dude, like, I wasn't that good a leader when I was your age. Like, I am proud of you. You are doing way better than I have. Thus, I feel in some capacity, either by chance or happenstance or by a little bit of input from me and his mother and other adults, or maybe it's just good luck, whatever it is, kid's doing all right. That makes me feel good because that's the whole purpose of it. So on Father's Day, fill your heart with gratitude if you're a dad, because you did this easy thing. It is not easy to be a mom and carry a baby. It's really easy to do the dad part. You know what I mean? You don't have to do a lot. I mean, hell, you could just lay there and become a father. You can just lay there and become a father. The mom part, you got to carry this kid. You basically fabricate them in your little miniature factory that's in your tummy, right? Dad, I can just lay there and let me know, are you done? Because I'm done. Get off me. Now you're a dad. Be grateful that spark of life snapped forth from your loins. I'm not being a pervert, and help propel life in a new form. Somebody else, this little boy, this little girl of yours. That's amazing. Be proud of yourself. Have gratitude that you got to partake in that. If you're not a father, you have one. And here's my message on that. Even if you didn't have an awesome dad, maybe you never met your father. Maybe he's a terrible man. Maybe he's a monster. Some of us have had a dad like that. Some of us have had a dad or a friend that had a dad that was a monster like that. I know people raised in foster care where they had foster parents that were monsters. If you never knew your dad, or if your dad was the most amazing, heroic figure in your life, either way, you're here today. The spark of life happened in you. Your mother carried you to term, otherwise you wouldn't be listening to this now. So fill your heart with gratitude for that. Whether you're a papa or you are just a child of one, you're here. And therein lies the true truth of this message. The ride around the universe that we're on, this spinning ball of rock and gas, is this sweet little space of homeostasis in the universe that allows our lives to exist. And we're here getting to listen to people, getting to enjoy sunsets and sunrises and the taste of food and the laughter of children and music and all of the things that we do. Yet we fret and we toil and we concern ourselves with all of that stuff. Remember that you will die. Memento mori. Right? Remember you're going to die. But what's the other side of memento mori? Do you know? It's memento vivere. Vivere. It means remember to live. That's the part of, it's easy to say, yeah, remember you're going to die. But remember while you're here to effing live. My buddy Joel would say, taste the good food, man. Taste it. Drink the stuff. Smile with your friends. Give a big hug. Grab your kid. Scoop them up. Even if they're too big, maybe pick them up and hold them a little bit. Be grateful. This is Mickey with CarryTrainer.com. Happy Father's Day. Be well. Don't be dickheads. Tell somebody you love them. Bye now.